Well, hi-rez, some of these problems are getting a little out of hand, but don't worry, I'm here with some solutions at least. Let's talk about this. Hey everybody, what is going on? Brandon here with another Realm Royale video, and this one is a little bit different because this one's basically just going to be going over some of the problems that's going on with Realm Royale right now in its current state, and some proposed solutions for, I think, at least one or two of the problems. The other ones I really can't propose any solution for without digging deep and getting into the code of the actual game, but, you know, I'll make the problem known as I've made it known already over the last month, and hopefully hi-rez will actually do something to fix it. And honestly, this first one here, this one I don't have a solution for. I don't, but it's been a problem since before the last season drop, before the Steel and Shadow Battle Pass dropped. They had released it was a small back-end patch, and with that patch they just brought a plethora of broken hit detection. That's all they did. They managed to break hit detection so bad in this game that I've gotten so aggravated I've had to shut the game off. I've gone days and days without playing it anymore because of this problem, and that's the hit detection. It's gotten so bad to the point where you can be point blank in front of somebody and unload an entire magazine with the heirloom rifle and land not a single shot aiming right at them. I've had where I've shot somebody in the head with a revolver without them even moving and not a single shot was landing. I've been hit through a wall before, through a solid tree one time, and killed out of nowhere from somebody that shouldn't have even been able to see me, let alone hit me with a shot through the wall or tree. I mean, hit detection has just been an absolute mess. I know they know it's an issue, but the problem is they're not acknowledging that it's an issue. I've tweeted at them multiple times with videos. I've had my videos retweeted by other players multiple times saying, you know, what the fuck, fix this, this shouldn't be this broken, and they just still don't bother even acknowledging it, that it's an issue. But it came out of nowhere. There was no issue like this, then they did an update, and then since that update over a month ago, it's just stopped working. Hit detection has been hit or miss, and you can sit there and completely annihilate somebody but not a shot land and lose because hit detection's broken. And that to me is got to be the biggest issue right now in Realm Royale that they need to fix. I don't know what they broke, but whatever it is, they've got to fix it because it is making the game just unbearingly annoying and hard to play for no reason whatsoever. Because it's pretty much taking the RNG mechanics of Fortnite's gunplay and just throwing it out the window. So you can have the best weapon in the game, gun-wise, and just be right next to somebody with almost no health and unload an entire magazine, not land a single shot, and they can manage to turn around, shoot you once, and somehow kill you. That's it. They need to fix it. The hit detection is that's right now my biggest turnoff for this game. The biggest reason I put the controller down and stopped playing this game for any amount of time is the broken hit detection. Everything else I can live with and find a way to deal with, but the broken hit detection is just there is no excuse. That needs to be priority right now on fixing with this game. That needs to be their 100% number one priority, is making sure that players aren't losing because their game is broken, rather than they're losing because they were outplayed by somebody better or somebody with better gear than them. Definitely that needs to take priority, and I just don't see them even acknowledging that it's an issue, and that to me is a huge red flag. Next up on the list is the Battle Pass XP. This definitely needs fixed. There's been multiple times where I will finish a match, and if I have not leveled up a class when I have finished that match, if I've not gone up a level, it will show me the experience that I've gained for leveling up a class, but then it won't give me any experience towards the Battle Pass. So sometimes I will go 2 to 3 to 4 matches without getting any Battle Pass experience, even if I'm winning matches. But then I can go 1 or 2 matches and get a crap ton of experience because I've won the match and I've leveled up my class, and because I've leveled up my class, it's moved past that screen post-game, and it gives me my experience for the Battle Pass. Now, this isn't as far as I know, this isn't just visual. This is actually an issue, because I've gone sometimes 2-3 days without getting any levels on my battle pass after playing 20-30 matches a day, just because it's wanting to be weird and not count my experience towards my battle pass and only count it towards leveling up one of my classes, which is really going to screw me once all my classes are maxed out and I can't level them up anymore if they don't fix this. So I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but I noticed it a couple weeks ago, and it actually got really aggravating because it shouldn't take me 3 days to go up a couple levels. It should take, you know, a day to level up 3 or 4 levels, not the other way around. The next issue I actually have a couple of different proposed solutions for, and that's the sword being OP, or the sword warrior being overpowered. For the longest time, this has been an issue for a while that people have said that the sword warrior was OP, or that the sword was OP. Originally, it was just that the sword was overpowered. Then, obviously, when they've added the leveling system for your classes, and everybody's realizing that, okay, well, a warrior is going to get a sword buff. His first weapon he can craft is going to be a sword. He can have increased movement speed, plus he's going to have the movement speed rune, plus the movement ability cooldown rune, plus his movement ability, making the sword warrior completely and totally overpowered. And this wasn't actually an issue at one point in time. It wasn't. The sword was pretty powerful, but there were ways to counter it. I mean, there were pretty easy ways to counter it, too. You could always counter the warrior with a mage real easily, especially with the frost staff. You could slow their movement speed down, fly away, and then by the time they got to you with a mage, as long as you had a high enough level mobility, you could get away again pretty quickly. But when they nerfed mobility cooldown timers, that kind of took away the ability to counter the sword warrior, especially if they have a movement speed rune, because originally the warrior was the slowest of all the classes, but now with all these, you know, updates that they've had with the ability to level up the warrior, it's no longer the slowest class. It can move the same speed as all the other classes and faster depending on what loadout all your enemies have, but now the sword warrior is grotesquely overpowered. And what I mean by that is, slowly over the last few updates, they've been changing things to the point where the ability to counter the sword warrior isn't nearly as high. The chances of being able to counter are gone. One of the biggest changes they've made, obviously, was the mobility nerf. Not being able to use your movement abilities nearly as much, even if you have them at higher levels, takes away your ability to counter the sword very well. Also, the fact that now you know where the fog is going to be closing in on from the beginning of the match. So what you're having now is you're having a lot of people play as the sword warrior, and then camping out at in-game inside of a building where the fog's going to be closing around on. And that's happened a lot more recently than I remember it doing before. It used to be that the fog would close in and almost never close around a building. But now it seems to almost always be closing around a building, to where if it's down to 2 or 3 people, the people on the outside of the building have to make a choice to either go in after the warrior and try to fight the sword warrior, or they have to stand out in the fog and die. So obviously they're going to have to go in, but with no real way to counter the sword warrior, there's not really much you can do unless you're another sword warrior. Because the sword right now does 1,000 damage. It also slows. It's got the frost ability if you get a legendary one, so it slows down movement speed. Warriors are automatically going to get a buff on damage there, no matter what they choose. Even if they have their original basic loadout, they're still going to get a buff with their sword, even greater one if they're a higher level warrior. On top of that, their movement speed, you're not going to get away from them very quickly, especially if they're camping inside of a building. Mobility is pretty much gone. On top of that, the sword has no reload time because it has no ammunition. Its attack speed is 1.3. I mean, that's kind of overpowered when you think about it, because the next best thing to use against it, or to counter it with similar damage, would be the sniper rifle. But the sniper rifle can only fire 1 shot per second and has to reload, and it's a long-range weapon. There is no scoping with it very easily because it's not really that good at that. They even nerfed that, I think in the last patch they said. They were nerfing the ability to no-scope so much with the sniper rifle. So it kind of takes away all the abilities to counter the sword. Right now the sword is just overly powered with the warrior, especially a high-level warrior. It's always going to win if you're in a close confrontation, and in-game is almost always close confrontations. which really it shouldn't be. The entire point of the game is to play what class you really like. And obviously there's going to always be a meta, at least to an extent. But now it's pretty much set up to where now the only class that's winning 90% of the time is warriors. Almost all the time that a warrior is playing, they are going to come out on top at the end because close range. You're constricting everybody to a tighter little small area where long range ain't really going to reign supreme. Now you've got it to where the fog's closing in on buildings, so warriors are reigning supreme. And I have a solution for that, or a couple proposed solutions for that, without even affecting the damage of the sword. You don't need to change the damage of the sword. You don't need to lower the damage of the sword. The sword should be a powerful weapon because you have to be right next to him to win. But right now that's an issue because getting right next to somebody in the end game isn't hard because of how much they've nerfed mobility. One proposed solution I have would be to change it from a horizontal slash to a vertical slash, taking the hitboxes from a wide path to a straight up and down path directly in front of the warrior, meaning moving side to side can allow somebody to dodge the sword's attacks. Right now, with its big wide berth, swinging it widely, there really is no way to dodge it. Sometimes you can jump above it, but then you come right back straight down, and you're going to get hit with when it comes back around. So I think going from horizontal to vertical would be a good choice, or even just lowering the speed of attack from 1.3 to 1. Make it the exact same as the sniper rifle. Make it the exact same attack speed as the sniper rifle. The sniper rifle is your long-range heavy weapon. The sword's your close-range heavy weapon. The fact that it can attack so much faster than the sniper rifle, and you can be right next to somebody in a split second, that they definitely need to do something about. Another proposed solution would be lower the warrior's base movement speed. The warrior is not meant to be a fast character. You can boost his attack or his movement speed with runes anyway. You can boost it with his leveling abilities, his traits. Make his base speed slower. That's the way it was before. I don't know why they made it to where it's the exact same as the rest of them anyway. These classes are supposed to be specific for a reason. Let's lower the warrior's speed. That way it's physically impossible for him to continue just to maul through somebody with that sword. To be completely honest, I think it should be impossible for a warrior to chase down a chicken on foot with a sword. I think once they are chicken, the warrior should be forced to switch to some form of a weapon with ranged ability. I think if they made it to where it was physically impossible to catch a chicken with a sword, unless you were just really, really skilled and managed to cut them off, I think that would fix a lot of things. Because, yeah, sure, you can chicken me with that sword when I come in, but you're going to have to chase me down to finish me off. That gives somebody an opportunity to revive from a chicken and counter the warrior once they get them into their own area outside of the house they may be camping in. There's a few things you can do to balance that sword out. And honestly, the sword I never really had a hard time countering before the mobility nerf. I never had an issue countering the sword. The warrior to me was always a great counter to go against the assassin. If you had somebody with a venom pistol, closing that distance with the sword was the best counter. But there were other ways to counter the warrior from all the different classes. You just had to outplay them. But now it seems like the ability to outplay the warrior is just gone out the window if they've got that sword, especially in the end game, and that's something they desperately need to fix. And lastly on the list of things they need to fix is get rid of the damn cheaters. That is one thing that's getting really aggravating. And I thought they were doing a good job in making sure cheaters were getting banned. And there for a while it was an issue, but it seemed like it was cleared up. But now I'm not sure if it's actually cheaters or if they've broken the game so badly to where hidden doesn't work. But there has been multiple times where I've either gotten shot or gotten chased down while invisible by somebody who clearly knew where I was. Even though I was fully invisible with a legendary or epic hidden, they shouldn't have been able to see me, but they knew exactly where I was. I know it's an issue right now with the bots. Their bots do not seem to even remotely acknowledge if you're using hidden at all. They know where you are regardless, but the bots are easy to counter. They're not really that big of a deal. They can know where I am because their aim's usually terrible anyway, and they're not very intelligent bots. But when you have a player who comes out of nowhere and you're hidden and they can perfectly know where you are and chase you down while you should be perfectly invisible, that's an issue. We're either dealing with cheaters now, or we're dealing with a broken game where maybe I think I'm hidden, but really I'm not, according to the opponent's screen. I don't know, but that's definitely been an issue. I don't know if anybody else has noticed it or not. Hidden has always been sort of broken in this game, but over the last couple of patches, I thought they really improved it, but I'm realizing now that I don't really think it's fixed. I think it's still, if not more broken, just as broken as it was. But yeah, those are just some of the problems that Realm Royale has right now that I really think hi-rez needs to get on top of fixing. I know these aren't small instances that are just limited to me, because I've talked to several people over on Reddit and Twitter about them having the exact same issues, describing the exact same problems. So it's definitely not a singular issue. It's happening with everybody, and I just thought maybe I'd make this video and get it posted. Maybe if I can highlight some of these issues to a greater extent, maybe hi-rez will actually take the time to fix them. I've tried tweeting at them with videos and basically yelling at them to fix some of these problems, and they don't even acknowledge half of them. So hopefully this will get more attention and they will fix it. We'll see. It's happened before, but I am not going to hold my breath that this video will garner a whole lot of attention. But we'll see, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's not really a normal video, but right now I'm waiting on my Devil May Cry 5 Part 2 playthrough to render, and figured I'd go ahead and do this while I was waiting on that to render so I can get them both uploaded today. But that's all the time I got for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it and you want to see more, please do me a favor and mash that red subscribe button. If you want to know anytime Nathan or I upload videos, please do us a favor and ring that bell icon. And I will see you guys next time.